What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got really big news in the Transformers trading card game. Like, really big news in the Transformers trading card game. You see, well, let me explain this in terms of a card, alright? Let me explain it in terms of a card. So, I was linked by the lovely Bento Kento over on Twitter to a bunch of cards that were revealed by TFU.info. And if we start off having a look at Deadlock, we can see that it is a 9-star character, and the stats aren't good enough for a 9-star character, alright? Health of 12 is what we would expect from an 8 cost, so we don't like it on a 9 cost. Attack of 4 is what we would expect on an 8 cost, although to be fair, attack of 5 is pretty nice. But then we see defense of 0. So I'm sorry, but health of 12, attack of 4 or 5, defense of 0, it's not good enough for a 9-star character. If you gave me this on a 7-star character, I'd be like, meh, it's alright. It's not great, but it's alright. Give it to me on a 9-star character, and I'm not loving it. But it is the alt mode skill, which made me take a double take here. Because you see, the alt mode skill reads stealth against Autobots and Decepicons. Those enemies attack other characters if able. And when you flip to this mode, Autobots and Decepticons can't use stealth this turn. Now, I will admit that today has been a very weird long day for me. I've had to go on a bit of a road trip to meet my baby niece, who was not even a day old. And it took me a moment, because I looked at this skill and I went, well, Autobots on Decepticons, what else is there? And then, of course, we see the faction symbol, which incidentally looks like a robot monkey. But it is, in fact, the symbol for a Mercenary. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, a card which is neither an Autobot nor a Decepticon. We have a brand new faction. Now, of course, when we get a brand new faction, there are downsides. I mean, for instance, back in Wave 2, we got a pair of cards. We got Noble's Blaster, which is nice and helpful for Autobots. And then Scoundrel's Blaster, which is nice and helpful for Decepticons. And of course, neither of those will work with Mercenaries. And I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail in this video, but there are plenty of Autobot and Decepticon cards. Clearly, someday soon, I'm going to do a ranking of the best Autobot cards and the best Decepticon cards, but let's just say the middle of spoiler season, not an ideal time to go ahead and do so. So this is cool, right? Now, what this skill really means is you have stealth against, and you block stealth for non-mercenaries. Anyone who is a mercenary, gutted, but anyone who isn't a mercenary, yeah, this is nice. Stealth, of course, gives you protection. It means that if your opponent is able to, they've got to attack somebody else. What that basically means is, so this means that you can make sure that your opponent cannot attack Deadlock, while also making sure that you can attack whoever you like. Now, one thing that's very important here, it is when you flip to this mode. So if we take something like the Micromasters, who all have stealth while untapped, one thing that would be very useful is to try and take them out kind of turn 1 if you go first and you get the first attack. The problem is, in order to do that, you would have to flip and then flip back, which you can't do turn 1 going first because you're not allowed to play action cards, etc. Boo! Never mind, ladies and gentlemen. But this is still a very useful card indeed. Now, over in bot mode, we actually see a new keyword skill. Yeah, that's right, having a new faction wasn't enough. This faction has a new keyword skill. The keyword skill is Bounty, which of course makes perfect sense given that they are, in fact, Mercenaries. And Bounty means it's a skill that comes in when you do enough damage to KO an enemy. And you flip this and draw 2 cards. So when you KO, you get 2 extra cards, and you get to flip into alt mode. And remember, in alt mode, you get stealth. And, well, unfortunately, it's it's kind of irrelevant. You would turn off stealth for Autobots and Decepticons, except you've already kind of attacked, so yeah. Maybe if you were using something like all-out attack, for instance, such that you were getting extra attacks, and you were therefore turning off their stealth for your extra attacks, that would be awesome, but shall we say this is a fairly niche use. Pop a Wheelie would be another example of a card that could give you an extra attack. The point is, yeah, this is a fun skill. Drawing 2 cards is fine. I mean, look, if you're drawing 2 cards when you take a KO, it really depends what you're up against. I mean, if you've got an attack of 4, if you're going up against things like Slammer, cool. He going down. But if you're going against a 2-wide deck, now to be fair, 2-wide decks have dropped in popularity quite a lot, but it really depends. If you're going against a deck with lots of small characters, you're going to get your bounty skill rocking off quite a few times. That's going to be awesome. Against a bigger deck, by which I mean a deck with fewer bigger characters, it's not going to work quite so much. But I figured, you know what, why just show you one new mercenary in this video when I could show you another, and for various boring reasons, all the others need to be put into other videos, so let's make this the video about mercenaries with lock in their name. Lockdown. Now, Lockdown is a 10 cost character, but at least we can say nice stuff about the stats. We have a health of 15, which is very, very high. And in bot mode, combine it with a defense of 2, and you got a little bit of staying power. In alt mode, unfortunately, defense of 1. As for attack, we've either got 5 in alt mode or 4 in bot mode. So that's kind of cool. Of course, it is very usual for characters to have 1 less attack, 1 more defense in alt mode, so it's kind of cool to see this the other way around. But this has one of those cool little skills here, which, well, they work really well together. So whether it's in bot mode or in alt mode, you have +2 attack for each card under him. Okay, how do you get cards under him? Well, that's where the bot mode skill comes in. When this does enough attack damage to KO an enemy, use a bounty ability. Well, okay, we know that's what bounties do. And you put the bottom card of your deck face down under this, which of course does present potential problems here if you're putting a card you really want later under him, but hey-ho. Fingers crossed it's one you're willing to spare. But then you get +2 attack. But again, I'm led to my point from the previous character, from Deadlock. Well, how many characters are you KOing? Because in a 2-wide deck, you finally take 1 down and you get +2 attack when attacking a final character. Having said that, attack of 7 is really high, so maybe it's okay. Whereas if you're against a 4-wide deck, then all of a sudden you've got 10 or 11 attack when taking down the final character, and that really is going to help. It snowballs as the game goes along. Now, there is a fancy little skill in alt mode as well. When you flip to this mode, draw a card for each card under this, and each upgrade he has, then scrap that many cards from your hand. So it doesn't give you a card advantage. I mean, if we found a card that gave you a huge card advantage, if you could be drawing like 4 or 5 cards a turn, which is potentially possible here, then that would lead me to think Wave 2 Bombshell. Alright, not a character that's seen a huge amount of play or a huge amount of love, but a character who is, well, one that really likes having lots of cards in hand. When you attack, you may scrap cards from your hand equal to the number of stars on the defender, and if you do, you KO the defender. Sweet! But you're not getting a card advantage here. What you're doing is you are cycling through cards a little bit faster. You are running through your deck. And to be fair, right, this is phenomenal. Now, let's say it's reasonable to have 1 card under him. You've taken 1 KO. Bearing in mind this is only when you take a KO with Lockdown that you actually get this. And let's say you've got 2 upgrades on. Well, all of a sudden, you're sitting there drawing 3 cards when you flip. 3 cards when you flip is phenomenal. That is significantly better than other characters that we see. Now, I mean, something like Cliff Jumper is a great example of a car, and incidentally this is a car, that is very, very nice with the draw power. But even Cliff Jumper here, you draw one card when one of your cars goes to bot mode. Well, that's one card per flip. If you can be drawing 4 cards here, that's essentially 2 cards per flip, because you need to get in and out of this mode. The problem here, of course, like I say, you're discarding the cards as well. Not card advantage, but it means you're going to be more likely to draw into the cards that you need, and honestly, I am totally okay with that. This seems fine by me. Now, in terms of the cars I'm showing you today, they are both incidentally cars. Cars are great because it means you've got stuff like turbo boosters and start your engines, which can be used for extra flipping fun time. And of course, that's going to be really, really important for lockdown, because you want to be flipping into and out of car mode as often as you can. When you play Start Your Engines, you're going to activate lockdown skill when you flip, which is awesome. Though incidentally, you will also activate Deadlock skill to take away stealth from Autobots and Decepicons. This is nice. This is really fun. This is one of the biggest shake-ups we've had to the game since it launched. I mean, one of the basic tenets of the game since it came out is you got Autobots and Decepticons. And there are people out there that have argued that we should not mix the teams. That we shouldn't be allowed to do that. Well, here we've got cards that don't even fit in the teams. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty gosh darned awesome. So, yeah. So I suppose the only thing left for this video is asking, what do you think about all of this? What do you think about the Mercenaries? What are your takeaways? How excited are you? Go nuts in the comment section, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk about Transformers and all kinds of other games. And do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio. Yeah, sorry, it's the name of the other channel. Where you can support the channel and get some weekly bonus podcasts. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.